Psychonauts, another trip report. While we're here, we just got done with Gary's 14-gram trip, and we have Kelly here. She does myofascial release. She's a natural healer. Talk about that a little bit here. There she is, semi covered. So first, she also went to Sedona with us with our group, and we had our first trip was a Halloween trip. 6.5, 7 grams of very potent mushrooms. And I don't know what it was, but it hit everyone really hard, and especially me. I thought I wasn't really in Trip City mode, but it's a trip set anyway. But yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that and talk a little bit about Sedona. So Gary just sat down here too. So I think you want to say Kelly to start, no? And talk about a little bit about MFR, manifest release. I'm sure people don't realize I'm gonna talk about the antenna aspect of how we get messages through our fascia.
Yeah. So myofascial release is a manual therapy. So I work with my hands, and it's working on the fascia, or the connective tissue of our bodies. And so that's literally what holds our body together. There's no cell in your body that touches another cell without fascia in between. So it's literally what connects us to ourselves, and it's also what connects you to the world around you. And so it's really energetic work. It's pretty awesome. And so mostly what we're doing when we're treating with MFR or myofascial release is we're working on trauma. So any kind of trauma, whether it's emotional, physical, you get into past lives, you get into just the complicatedness of it. And the great part about it is when you treat it and when you're working with your trauma, the why doesn't matter. It's all about just releasing the tension within your tissue that's been built up over time. But the reason why and how you got there doesn't necessarily matter. So that's a little bit different with the mushrooms, I think, because when you're in it, you sort of start to remember everything that led up to that moment, and then it all starts to make sense. So,
That's a good contrast and comparison there. I saw something to think about that,
mm-hmm.
And they do relate. And I kind of felt Kelly was going to be coming up too, and she took the. Well, we did the 2 grams first, right? Well, I think we all did a 2-gram trip to test everybody's tolerance, and that was nice. That's when you were talking about, right? We did. Well, you did a little more than 2, right? And then
I think I did 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I didn't really.
She said she was a cakewalk. I think like 3, and she didn't feel it at all.
Yeah.
So then we decided to do the double. Yeah, we did. We doubled it and went 6. And it was brutal. And she accused me of overdosing her.
Like the whole time I was like, "You gave me more than 6."
And
it
was hitting so hard that I was questioning myself. Like, did I put double? I was thinking, did I measure it right? But
because I know I'm a newbie and all.
Yeah,
but I know
it was just
really
a brand
intense.
new batch. It's super intense. I'm saying it has 35 to 40% more psilocybin than a normal batch, and it hit everybody hard. And that's when Gary actually went in later with that same batch, and so you had your trip on that batch too. So that was a batch. Everything since then has been kind of a little bit easier. But yeah, the Halloween night one, we had the.
It was the blue moon.
Yeah, we had this blue moon.
Halloween.
We had the Halloween, and it's 2020 Halloween, where people wanted to, get out, but they're stressed still, and you could feel the energy in the air. And it was, we just felt we were dealing with people's shit, and, you empaths will, like when everybody takes mushrooms, you become an empath, right? I think, I'm not really, I'm kind of.
I'm already an
Yeah,
empath.
I think you guys are already, most people are coming up to the mountain are empaths, so I'm noticing that. And, I think I kind of am too, but I kind of just ignore it. But with shoes, everybody's an empath, and I'm like, I'm kind of able to realize when I'm not dealing with my shit, somebody else is. But I think, and then O'Shea brought this up, like we're doing work for the collective consciousness and for people who won't go in. Do you remember that part, Gary, when I told you were getting those dealing with the shit, and I said, "Oh, some of this is not yours," and then he's like, "Oh, it's not," and he realized it, and then it hit him harder, and he went under again for another hour or 2. But I think we're doing a great work. So anyway, go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead and talk about her.
Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, let's talk about the healing. Her hands. Since she's a healer, her hands, I swear, it had to be at least over 100 degrees.
They got super hot, super sweaty. Like I could just feel the energy like pulsing into them. Like it was wild.
Yeah.
And in my work after that, like doing treatments and stuff, it just felt so much more intense, and I got so much more accomplished with my clients. So that was really cool. And then especially, and like Halloween was crazy because I was just doing, I had a specific, not an intention necessarily, but I went up there feeling like I was finishing all this work that I've been doing over 2020, because that was a really intense year for all of us, obviously, but I was taking that time off to like do my work because nothing better to do. So I came up there with you guys, and I at a certain point I became very aware that I was like the only girl there, like doing my like divine feminine work, whatever you want to call it, and just feeling really safe in this masculine energy around me, which was like a big deal for me. Yeah, so that was really cool.
Also, she was I was in fetal position the whole time, I won't lie, and I was watching O'Shea. He was sitting there in his lotus position, and Kelly sitting there with a grin on her face, and I'm like, man, these guys are like, I'm gonna become the student, you know, they're gonna become the masters. But then it eventually caught up to both of them. But remember, she had her big cry. Let's talk about the big cry.
Oh,
that was
yeah,
awesome.
that was crazy too.
She had the big cry, and a lot of girls were related after I told them about that.
Yeah, like I came over because like I had done like my own like personal stuff by myself away from the group, and then I came out of it and I was like, all right, I need to be with the group right now. And I had asked you like, can you help me get home?
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah.
And Troy was all upset because he thought I like literally wanted to go home, and it wasn't that. It was just like I needed help like reintegrating, because I feel like I came back with a piece of myself, or a fragmented part of myself, which has a lot to do with that healing moment that I had.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah, and so I was like, Langford, can you help me get home?
Yeah.
And so like
I know what she was talking about, but see, I had to deal with them. They were worried that I was gonna drive her home. Like, you can't drive her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna take her home. So I know we got in a blanket. I held her. And
we had cuddle time.
Calmed down, and then
calmed down, and then what happened? And then like there was just a lot of like very specific things that kept coming up for me, and then. Yeah, like I kept telling you about like how like I'm the only girl here, like I feel really safe with you guys, blah blah blah. And then like I cried, like, and it was like even just like a couple seconds, but it like came from my womb, like it came up, and like it was like super intense. And I've only done that one other time in a myofascial release session with my teacher, years and years ago. And so that happened twice. Like I cried twice, like big cries from my womb, and then I threw up.
So we're sitting there, and then we're going all covered in Kelly going through it, you know, giving support in there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, she's rubbing my back, and I'm fucking puking and trying, and she's administering to everybody, and she's the master now. I'm like, I know she's born to this, so hopefully goes for my big trip. But hopefully Kelly's there. They said they're gonna support me. I've been kind of solo last couple of times, so this is like beautiful to have a little group and have some support after. So
no, you're not doing it big alone.
All right, yeah, no more solos. But yeah, she was just having her there. I was like, I remember saying, "Thank God Kelly's here," because we had a rough one. I started purging. I started puking too, right? I started throwing up. Yeah. So I was throwing up, and then
Troy was having a moment, but
She had his. It didn't help that he was fucking did some acid on the way up too.
Yeah.
He kind of doubled up on it, and he had a rough time. But we kind of administered, and that was good for them because they got to see kind of what they went through. It wasn't as intense as his, but he was fighting his demons,
it's weird
and
when
we
you're
kind of
in
talked
it,
him
so
through
you
it.
get an idea of like what it's like from the outside.
I was talking to Gary now. Somebody asked if I'll make a documentary. I said, I don't want anybody filming me on high dose.
No.
They would call 911. It would be, I'm probably frothing at the mouth and fucking convulsing and shit. So don't be scared, guys, when that happens. It's just part of the... Yeah, so that was Halloween. Oh, and then Sedona was just pretty much a nice little cakewalk, almost. Well, you got out a rough one too in Sedona, right?
No, it wasn't rough. No, it was like, it probably looked like it, but it was actually really, really
good.
good.
Sedona was kind of nice and...
Leading up to Sedona was rough. That's the problem.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was exhausted. I was I had a place to move. Like, I was going through it at home. Like, I had a lot of home stuff going on. Like, I had to drive a lot. Like, I drove...
You had to deal with your parents.
I had to deal with my parents.
Jesus,
I have family in Arizona, so I had to see them first. So, like, I was dealing with my dad and my stepmom, my mom,
On that note, another Psychonaut tip: avoid family members before you go in. For at least a week before you go in, try to be a little solo. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, normally I don't see my family. Like, it's been months since I've seen them, so I was like, I have to go see them, and it was fine. Like, it was just exhausting. It was very draining, emotionally, energetically, whatever.
May I jump in?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
go ahead.
May I jump in?
Yeah.
I think really what I want. Oh no. I think
Oh, sorry, Mr. E.
really what I want to say is, doing this isn't recreational. I want
no.
anyone who hears this to really get what I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
This isn't recreational. This isn't something I want to do because I'm bored. This isn't something I want to do. What I get intuitively is this helps open me up. It helps me to know myself. Now, with that being said, if you haven't done any work on yourself,
Oh yeah.
if you are an angry person, if you are an addicted person, I do not recommend you doing this. You've got to be clean, clear, and stable, and have a very strong sense of tied to the earth.
Kind of the good thing is that people kind of are aware of that. They're scared, and everybody that
And you should be scared.
yeah, they're the alcohol addicts and they know if they go in, they have to deal with it, and they're scared as fuck, and they don't want none of this.
Because what will happen, the demons will get you.
Yep.
The demons will get you because they'll use it. Okay.
Very good point. And like some of my family knows what I'm doing, and I go on my trips. They're like, have fun. I'm like, look at them with a fucking crazy face. Like, there's nothing fun about it. Well, afterwards, you appreciate life, but there is nothing fucking fun at all.
This takes
Like I
stability.
said,
It takes stability. It takes courage, and it takes courage to come through it, and it takes courage to deal with your knowledge at the other end, on the other side of this. It's made me a different person. It's making me a better person. There. That's all I can say.
Yeah, let's go in. More golden content here on Psilocybin Psychonauts. And but that being said, that was how we did have fun in Sedona.
No, we did.
Afterwards. But that was only if we did a light grab. We did it on purpose so we could enjoy it. We didn't want to have to go too deep anyway. And
Well, I was kind of nervous because, like, I was thinking, like, I was going to do 7, and then I was chickening out, like, the more.
Yeah, the energy was already kind of crazy.
The energy there is so intense, and, like, I've been there many times, so I already know, like, it's intense there.
Yeah, it was, but it's a really clean, smooth energy. So.
Yeah. But then we saw the bobcat, and I was like, okay.
Oh my God. We got to talk about Selma Hayek, Gary. This is golden. So I'm taking notes. Gary, I'm taking notes for Gary. Just could write this down.
Okay, so that's right. We're in Sedona, and I all of a sudden I sat up, came out of my space, and I got it. I got how all these creative people get to be so creative and have such abundance on all these levels in their life. And part of it is they're doing the mushrooms. And what I got very clear, Selma Hayek is very much involved in this. Emily Blunt and her husband, Ed Krasinski. I mean, the list goes on.
That's his name. You never knew.
List,
my God, that's him?
The list.
You never got it. You can never,
The list goes on. I could give you a list of people. Now, I have no proof that they're doing any of this. So please, this is just my intuition. But yet,
Selma, if you're out there, contact us.
But I get the creativity, how this ties in and opens up creativity. Okay? Yeah.
And I know too, I followed through. I sent Emily Blunt a message about our trip, and on Facebook I couldn't get a hold of Ms. Hayek. She's untouchable, I guess. But the next day I had like 12 new members of Psilocybin Psychonauts, female. Hi guys. So we're on a trip. Probably won't do Sedona. Maybe not. We want to do Sedona again. Kelly will be in Sedona.
I'm in Sedona all the time.
Yeah. So if anybody want some advice to see Kelly, she's gonna be out there very soon.
Yeah, June.
Yep. So
15th, 16th.
yeah. So anybody wants some
Look
advice.
us up. Come and visit.
Alrighty. Talk to you guys soon.